Alright, hello everybody. It's the last day of June today. It's a Friday, which means I'm off, so we can do June video game pickups. Hopefully this video looks good because I'm on my other computer. Someone's borrowing my computer that I use specifically for these ones. But I've cleaned it up, and I've cleaned up this computer, and I think it should be fine without anything else sucking on the CPU the whole time. So let's start with some old cartridges. I was about to say cartridges, and I realized if you got 5 Switch games and 3 DS games, those are all cartridges too. But anyway, let's start with, I have a Famicom game today because I didn't know that there was a Labyrinth game. There's a Labyrinth computer game that was made over here by LucasArts that's a completely different game, and then there's a Labyrinth Famicom title. I think it was actually published by Atlas. It doesn't say it on here, but I think Atlas had something to do with this. I could be thinking of something else. But, yeah, based on the movie and everything. And my throat's been bothering me today, and I don't know why. But, yeah, Labyrinth has a game on the Famicom, but not in North America. And it's a Zelda clone, basically, and it's just been bothering me so much that this exists. Because, why couldn't we have this? Why couldn't we have this one? We had so many games based on movies, particularly like fantasy-oriented movies, in the U.S., like Willow and stuff like Last Starfighter and Rocketeer, movies that didn't do as good as this. Why couldn't we localize Labyrinth? That movie did well, right? I don't know. But yeah, we have Labyrinth on the Famicom. Who knew? This one's interesting here. This is, I've been meaning to pull the trigger on this for a little while now. This is a big too small for the Nintendo 64. This is made by a nice fellow on the internet called Retro Room Games, or Retro Roo. He makes homebrew stuff that he puts on various cartridges. This is, I think he has 2 64. I forget if I'm mixing it up with something else, but I've been meaning to get this for a while because it's a homebrew game. It's somebody making an original game on the N64, and I want to support that. So it's nothing special. It's a fun little puzzle game where you move blocks around as animals. It looks like more like it was made for like the Game Boy or something like that, but it's on a 64 cartridge, and it's not too expensive to get it, considering someone made this entire game and made the cartridges themselves. So go check them out, see if there's anything on that site that you might be interested in. Yeah, just fun to have. Fun little things. And we've got some Game Boy. I'll start with the Game Boy Advance. Uno Freefall. Looks like shovelware, published by DSi. Might as well be shovelware, but this is fun. This is a fun little game. I tried it out. I was interested to see what a falling block game based on Uno was like, and it's a lot of fun. It blends. It's exactly what you think. It's falling blocks, and it blends the Uno mechanics in with it on the blocks. I thought it was cool, and I think you can get it on DS too. It's not expensive or anything like that. It's a DSi game, DSiWare published game, or DSi games published, not to be confused with a DSi. We've got Mario Tennis. This is a weird one because it's not a weird game at all, not in the slightest. But it's been weird for me because it's actually had more or less a spot reserved for it for it feels like 4 or 5 years now. Because of course I have Mario Golf on the 64 and Mario Golf on the Game Boy Color, and I played that and beat it a few years ago, right at the same time. And every time I would see Mario Tennis, I would assume, I was like, no, I think I already have that, I must have that. And I wouldn't bother to go check, or I would go check on my Game Eye, and I'd be like, oh, I don't have that, that's weird. I should pick that up, and then I just don't do it. And then finally, we got far along enough on 64 games chronologically that I played Mario Tennis, in the last month and a half. And I was like, okay, you should get the Mario Tennis game on the Game Boy Color so that, in the near future, you can go and you can put the characters in there and shit, and you can play it all the way through and everything. I really do like having the handful of games that work with the transfer pack, especially the ones that aren't Pokemon. So I should have had this a long time ago, and I just never... I was like, oh yeah, no, I'll get it, no worries. This is Little Mermaid 2 Pinball Frenzy, just because it's a pinball game. And it is also fun that it's one of the Rumble Pack games. There's another pinball game for the Game Boy Color that just keeps going up in price, and I'm like, I cannot justify the like $30 that this game goes for. It's made by Left Field. It's like hard. I keep mixing it up with Hardcore Pinball, which is a really obscure shovelware one for the Game Boy Advance that I have, but it's like pinball. I don't want to say Frenzy 2 because it's on this. It's some other pinball game for the Game Boy Color that's on a Rumble Pack, and I keep thinking I should have that, but I'm not paying $30 for a one-table pinball game on the Game Boy Color. Sorry. What do we got? One Japanese PSP game, Tekken Dark Resurrection, a staple of the PSP library for sure. It's basically just Tekken 5 with a couple extra odds and ends, but it's Tekken 5 and it's portable. And Tekken 5 is awesome, so yeah, just wasn't a little bit into Tekken earlier the past couple months, so I was like, I should have this one. And it's got a Japanese one because it's cheap. We've got another homebrew game, actually. This is another Video Games New York release, Xenocider. This is a game that's a lot like Sin and Punishment on the N64. It is a rail shooter with movement and stuff. You can move it around with a controller, and you can also use the... I think it's like no, it's not. It's not meant to be like gun game because you have to move the character too. But yeah, in that sense, it's pretty awesome. Looks cool. And one PS5 game. I've been interested in this for a while because I know people didn't really like this game as much as like past very much acclaimed games in the series because it's a lot different from those. But Valkyrie Elysium is a pure action RPG. It's got the Valkyrie Norse mythology inspired stuff that the series has kind of always had in it a bit. It's a PS5 game, so that's cool. Just actually able to buy PS5 games that have large production values and stuff that aren't just like, oh, here's a indie game pressed on a PS5 disc, something like that. So this is fun though. I'll have to check that out. I am more interested in it being a fully explorable action RPG than most people will be, but it doesn't mean I'll like it or not based on other stuff or against other games in the series. But it was worth picking up once the price dropped for $20. Another game that kind of has always had a reserved spot in my... I have to move my finger so that you can see that it's this version, but that's fine. Luigi's Mansion remake / port for the 3DS. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's in my top 10 favorite games of all time. And I've always just why do I need this? I don't really need this, and especially it's always going to be $40, $50. And I thought it kept going up when the 3DS shop closed. But I was able to snag this, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, worldwide version copy, which is an NTSC copy, plays on your NTSC 3DS. Why did the 3DS have region locking? We don't know. We probably could find... I probably could do 2 seconds of research and find out. I'm just saying, always been silly to me that there's one region-locked Nintendo handheld, and it's the 3DS. But yeah, Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS. My next playthrough of this game, of which I have easily a dozen, if not more, will have to be the 3DS version. You usually do it every October. Either that, and then last time I did Luigi's Mansion 3, but then now that Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is getting a port, I might pick that up and I'll play that for the second time ever. We'll see what happens come fall. We've got 2 DS games that we actually got in at work from new old stock, or old sealed stock, the best way to put it. Just interesting games that I never see. This is Ontamarama, however you say it. Atlas published rhythm game for the DS that looks pretty cool, pretty fun. Has all kinds of music, it says. Definitely felt like this was worth grabbing, because you just never see this game. And then a game I didn't know existed, Tenchu Dark Secret. I love games that use the DS abbreviation when they title their games, like Ninja Gaiden, Dragon Sword, and more. Now, I have a couple Tenchu games, and I haven't really played any of them because they're largely stealth games, and I'm bad at those. But I do find the Tenchu series interesting, and this is not supposed to be good, but I did find it really weird that there is a Tenchu game exclusive to Europe that we didn't get over here. So I felt like grabbing it just because of that. I didn't know it existed until I saw it in front of me. And just an oddity that I felt like I had to grab. Alright. And then, of course, oh my god, there's extra shit in here. You're gonna end up with Switch games. There's some real goodies in here this month. Actually, how many of these are regular retail releases? None of them. 5 games. None of them are actually games I bought that would have been retail releases, technically. So let's start with Batsugun. Very exciting. It's Toa Plan. I wanted to say Cave because it has this publisher's logo, City Connection. It looks like the Cave one a little bit. It doesn't look like it, but it's a big C. And I went, Cave? No, it's not. Toa Plan shooter from the 90s. Crazy. I mean, look at all them bullets and shit on screen. Fun stuff. Part of this Saturn Tribute boosted series that has gotten like Cotton and other games like that over the past couple years. I definitely really wanted to get Batsugun though, because this game is awesome. I tried it for like 2 minutes of Galloping Ghost last year. It's super good, and it's Toa Plan. You can trust them. It's amazing. That was from Play Asia. Should tell everybody where all of these non-retail releases came from. Next up, we got Heaven's Vault. And, of course, comes with the strictly limited postcard that's too big to fit in your goddamn Switch case, so I don't know what to do with these half the time. Heaven's Vault is the favorite game of a new employee that we have, and I was very interested. I was like, what is your favorite game? Especially because we make name tags that have say what our favorite games are, and I was like, I'll have to look into this because I've never heard of it before, but it's a story-based game about language and history and stuff like that. I've been playing it for a couple minutes at a time, basically. It's very relaxing, very good for dialogue, for world building, for story, stuff like that. So just a nice little game where you travel around. It's like being an archaeologist, but in a far-off like star system that has ancient civilizations and robots and things. And it's very intriguing. I definitely recommend looking up exactly what this game is, because it's hard to explain it, but it's very nice. I like it. This is another VGNY soft delivery. This is Demoniaca. Demons. Castlevania, Metroidvania game. Demoniaca Everlasting Night. Of course, we always get the Elite editions with these because I want a manual. Here's a manual. What do you call this other than it's a very clearly inspired by Castlevania? I haven't played it yet. I just was like, oh, that looks awesome. Great. Cool. Next we've got this was not cheap, but neither is the download, and I couldn't spend $40, $50 on a download, so I had to have this. This is The House in Fata Morgana, the limited run release. I wanted this game for a long time because it's one of those games that gets like in the high 90s for all of its critical review scores. A lot of people deride it because it's not much of a game. It is a visual novel, but I've heard so many good things about this game, and the artwork and the tone and the gothic setting and stuff. I really, really felt like I had to play this. I just would not play for the download period. So it was tough to pull the trigger, but I definitely wanted to have this. It's been on my list for... I dropped it. It's been on my list for a good while now, just to see like if I could get my hands, or if somebody did another release or some shit like that. So that one's taken care of. And now I have jumped both feet first into collecting this series, and I have no idea if I even really like it, because I've heard that some of the games in the series are almost intentionally bad, like Daymare. Not that Daymare is in the series, but Daymare is a similar series inspired by Resident Evil and such, called Outbreak. And this is the collection part 1 that has the first 3 games on there. The first one is a like top-down style one, but then I think it looks like everything from then on is proper like 3D like Resident Evil inspired or Silent Hill stuff like that. Adventure, survival horror, shooter stuff like things. Yeah, a lot of Resident Evil clones come out nowadays. People are really, really into making shit like that, and I'm here for it. I don't have time to play them all. I got to get the ones that come with physical releases, and you'll see them again next month because I know there's another one I have on the way. So I'm not even sure if I'm gonna like if I get to playing this if I dive in with the top down one or if I just go for the other ones that are the more like PS1 2 style looking games. But yeah, this is also a limited run release, but it has a Amazon. I bought it through Amazon. Whew. Yeah. Anyway, goddamn. This is a weird 5 stack of Switch games. I like hadn't realized it until I sat down. But yeah, it's a good looking retro inspired collector stack right there is what that is. All right. Anyway, that's it for this month. I have not played any N64 this week. At least not on stream because the next one is International Track and Field, and I don't fucking feel like it. It's just all it is. I don't fucking feel like it right now. But yeah, hopefully in the stack of games or somewhere on that shelf that I'm going to play today or tomorrow is the next gem that makes me like wild over it, because not featured here. I guess I'll just talk about it for a second. Not featured here is a game that I could not get on physical because it was already sold out and it was shipping right now and nobody has it like for sale on secondhand or anything like that. Inscription is one of the best games that I played in years. I can't talk too much about it because you will get spoiled of why I loved it so much, but I don't know if it's still on sale. I don't think it is. But I played it on the Switch. Wow. Play that game. That was a pickup from this month that I dove right into and loved. So, alright, I'll see you later.